franktalks.com.
Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Welcome to Passion, a show all about love, sex, and relationships. Tonight it is our regular monthly feature we call Dating Dilemmas, where we focus on dating issues. So if you're single or you know someone who's single, this is the show for you. And I'm joined by Frank Kermit. He is a dating coach. He's an author, an educator. He's a relationship columnist for the Montreal Times newspaper, and he is here with us every month to talk about the issue. He's written many books, actually, on the subject of dating, one of which you could actually pick up for free it's an ebook at www.friendstoloversformula.com, friendstoloversformula.com, especially if you're stuck in the friend zone and you don't know why. It's a good way to get out, right, Frank?
Always good to get out of the friend zone.
Yes, and some people are just prone for that friend zone. But anyhow, and usually it's the nice guys. We could talk about that later. But first, I want to talk about your article. An article that appears in the Montreal Times that you just did this week. In case you missed it, we'll talk about it right now. And the headline is "Entertainment is Not Dating Education," and this comes on the heels of a talk I just gave called "Porn is Not Real Sex Education." So I'm assuming there's a lot of similarities between porn and what it does to educate about sex and what TV shows really do or movies do to teach us about relationships. So give us your take on that.
Let's start off with the idea that media entertainment, whether it's popular media culture, television, film, commercials, and porn, exists for one reason. They want to turn a profit through entertaining you. That does not mean that what they're showing you, what you're being entertained by, is necessarily something you should be educated by.
Or emulating, because what they're actually selling you is a fantasy.
Exactly, and that includes TV shows and commercials. The one commercial that comes to mind that sparked this article was a KFC commercial where a guy walks into a party and he has some KFC spicy chicken nuggets. He sees a girl, decides he's going to try his luck. He's going to approach her, says hello, offers her a nugget. She eats a nugget. It's so spicy. He says, "How is it?" She slaps him.
No way.
And then she walks away, then comes back, grabs the nuggets, and then leaves. And okay, I get it. It's funny. It's a joke. But what are we teaching people with that? We're teaching that it's okay for women to be violent with men because it's something you should just tolerate and expect. I mean, if the genders were reversed,
that would never be acceptable.
That would never be acceptable.
Right. That would never pass or fly if it was the man slapping her. And that was a commercial.
And the fact is that when you reverse the genders, if you're saying it's not acceptable, it's still not acceptable when a woman hits a man, but it's considered a joke, it's considered funny.
Right.
Now, what happens when you have a real life couple that is getting into an argument? And because they're exposed to that, they think, oh, this is something that's acceptable. A woman should hit a man and the guy should just stand there and take it. Well, no, because these become repeating behavior patterns.
And I think, but what's important here is, because I don't want to make it like we can't tell the difference between what's real, what's a joke, what's television, what's real. It's constant exposure to something, and it's young mind exposure to something that creates these expectations. Not so much, if I haven't watched much TV and I watch that commercial, I'm not going to think, hey, it's okay to, hit a guy. And I have the brains to say no. I like the cognitive capacity to decipher what's real, what's not, what's good, what's not, because I've lived. But when young people are exposed continuously over time, it like with pornography, it does something to the human brain that is still developing.
Exactly. One of the things that I talk about is how entertainment for adults, when viewed by children, becomes education for children. Because a child is a sponge. Right. It absorbs everything as a form of education.
Right. That's a very good point. And they certainly do that with pornography.
Exactly. We see it all the time where you have people who in their teens who are just absorbing all of this pornography and thinking, well, that's what's expected of me. That's the way we're supposed to behave. That's what we're supposed to do. Well, that's what we're supposed to accept. And then you get into the real world and you find out, no, this is not as good as it seemed on the screen.
Right. Dating Dilemmas tonight with Frank Kermit of franktalks.com. He's a dating coach and a dating specialist. And we're talking about how the world of entertainment is really not a reflection, even remotely, of real life. But yet, there are some people who, and I've heard this, who bemoan the fact that their relationship doesn't look like what they see, let's say, in chick flicks. Mm-hmm. Women, I think, are big culprits of they love romance, right? And so what they see, it's like, that's what sells. It's like, oh, I wish my boyfriend would do that. Or they're on the lookout for that. So they create these expectations that that's what, a good romantic relationship looks like.
Mm-hmm. And they want to sometimes emulate the conflicts as well. The idea is that, well, we should be fighting. We should have these major discussions and these big blow-ups and the make-up sex afterwards. And, the drama of it can be so addictive for some people, both men and women. Although I do agree there's more women.
Women are watching that stuff, okay, frankly.
But there's some men who are addicted to the drama of it as well because they get a charge out of it.
Right. And that, when you're talking and I'm thinking soap operas, I'm not sure how much people watch soap operas now, but I watched soap operas for years, maybe, 2 decades worth of soap operas, usually the same one over and over and over again. Now, I don't think I made the connection with this is real life. I very well knew it was fantasy, but it has to play some part. It has to have some impact on you, the continuation, the continued exposure.
Soap operas are successful because they play on certain archetypes that people are drawn to.
Yes.
The redemption of the bad character, turning good through love.
Right.
Is a major, major storyline.
Oh, well, there you go. Women, I can change him with all the love I give him. I can turn that bad boy into a really great guy. Mm-hmm. That women do hold on to.
Absolutely. But then we have to look at it with a critical eye. And the 2 things I teach are, number 1, look at the timeline. Is it possible for that timeline to exist in real life? And the fact is, no, it doesn't. People have to go to jobs most of their days and travel in between. A good example of this, The Cosby Show. I love that show. Yeah, I'm going on record saying I love that show. But he's a doctor, she's a lawyer.
She was always home. They were both always home.
Exactly, and that's just not realistic. Anybody who's a lawyer in a firm, chances are they have a very strong work ethic.
Right. And they're working 80 hours a week, just saying,
So they're not home to be with their kids as often as that TV show portrayed. So it's things like this. TV shows like Friends where you wondered, are they ever working? Are they ever going to work? They're always together just hanging out. And
in the coffee shop, always during the day and, like any time of day or night. So you never know. Like
exactly.
And then they're always together at the same time. None of them work at the same time.
And then there's a second thing, and that is follow the money. The people that you're seeing living that life on the screen, could they actually afford it? On the salaries that they're supposed to make in those jobs? I mean, Miami Vice, that TV show was a classic example. On the salaries that their characters were supposed to have been making, they never should have been able to afford such expensive clothing.
Cars.
That too. Mm-hmm. So it's this type of idea. Always
you don't really think of that, right? We don't.
No.
Those are things that kind of subliminally get into our brains in a way.
I don't think that media entertainment has the obligation to be realistic. It's there to entertain.
No, they're there to create fantasy for us.
But as an audience, there has to be better education as to how to critically assess what we're seeing.
And actually, we can talk about what, a lot of the sexuality-based stuff on television and what it doesn't show and how we integrate that, even young people watching this stuff. So there's lots to talk about when we're talking about entertaining and dating and sex education right there. 514-790-0800, or you can text us at 514-800. You're listening to Dating Dilemmas here on Passion on CJAD.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on CJAD 800.
Dating dilemmas tonight on the program. Frank Kermit joins us. He is a dating coach, a best-selling author of several books on the subject of dating. He's also the relationship columnist for the Montreal Times newspaper. And we are talking about how the entertainment industry, all media really, is really not a good reflection of dating or love or romance or marriage or any of that. Just as much as porn is not a good form of sex education, but yet it exists, it's there, and many of us get a lot of our information or education from those sources. So text message here at 514-800. I'm a guy. Thanks for covering this topic. What a nightmare. Phew. Someone wrote a bit off topic, but I guess wants some advice from you, Frank. What would you recommend for a younger female introvert looking to date? Where should I start? I'm uncomfortable with online dating after a sour experience.
Okay, so you're introverted. Let's find out a list of things that you like to do. Maybe you like to read. Maybe you're the type of person that you like going to museums because you like the intellectual stimulation there. I'm using these as possible examples. Okay, well, if you know that you like going to museums, see if there's some meetup groups of people that go to museums and join up with that.
Right, and they're not necessarily dating. It's not online dating. They are just kind of networking. Exactly what it says, meet up group. We meet up because we have a similar interest and we kind of do activities together. If you end up meeting somebody there, then great, but they're not always all single.
Exactly.
Right.
Number two, if you really like books, then maybe join up with your local library and see if there's anything you can do there. Maybe do some volunteering. Sometimes libraries will have story time for kids. These type of events, see if you can get involved there and you can meet other people who also have an interest in the things you're interested in. One of the challenges of being an introvert is that sometimes it's so difficult to just put yourself out there and meet new people. You may have to employ your friends and family and say, look, I would really like to meet someone. If there's anybody you can set me up with on a blind date, I'll give everybody one date. I'll give everybody one chance.
And make sure you do that. Make sure that you don't chicken out. That because your mind will tell you, oh, no, I'm too scared. But you know what? If you're going to live your life, you better get past that comfort zone of yours. And there's an expression I love, and it is life begins at the end of your comfort zone. I have that poster in my office. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone.
Very important here. If you tell everybody that you're open to being set up and then they go ahead and set you up and you don't even give that other person a chance on a date, or you go on one date but you're not even open to being open to see where it goes, you're going to find that all those people that are willing to help you right now are going to stop trying.
Right.
Okay. And lastly, okay, you went on one bad dating experience, one bad online dating experience. Look, you're going to have lots of bad dating experiences before you meet the person that you want to build a future with.
You may have to kiss a lot of frogs.
Okay. So that's, if you want a happy future, you have to earn it. And part of earning it means put yourself out there, date as many people as you can, because even on those bad dates, you learn something about yourself, about what you want, what you don't want. And the most important, if you're on a really lousy date, it's a great opportunity to set a boundary and to actually learn to express yourself and deal with a potential fear of conflict and say, look, the way you're acting here, it's just not jiving with me. And to get into the habit of being able to say that, the sooner you weed out those toads, the sooner you actually can meet somebody worthwhile.
The other thing is, as long as you keep telling yourself, I'm an introvert, I can't do this. I'm an introvert, I can't do this. You set yourself up for never actually putting yourself out there, because it's a way to victimize yourself. It's a way to say, well, because, I don't date because I'm an introvert, or I have difficulty because I'm an introvert. But you can still push your own boundaries, and that's in your control.
Look, do you want to be with somebody or not? It's either you want to be alone or you want to be involved with someone. And if you want to be involved with someone, there's a price to pay. And that means that it's okay. Look, let's be fair here to her. It's okay to be an introvert. Okay, not everybody is meant to be an extrovert.
No, of course not.
It's okay to be an introvert. I mean, there's great qualities in a person who's an introvert. They're very trustworthy. They know how to keep a secret. They know how to be a confidant, and they're usually great listeners. These are fantastic qualities. But you have to put yourself out there and give other people an opportunity to appreciate those qualities in you.
Which means you have to have an opening.
Exactly.
You have to let them in even just a bit. Tonight it's Dating Dilemmas. Once a month, Frank Kermit joins us. He's a dating coach, and he's here to answer your dating questions. Whatever dating dilemmas you have, he can fix them. So give us a call, 514-790-0800, or you can text at 514-800. We're talking about the entertainment industry and how it affects us, but we can also talk about dating during or right before the holidays. Like, who do you invite? What if you met somebody right before? Do you need a date for New Year's? Like, there's so many issues we could actually discuss here. 514-800. You're listening to Passion on CJAD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on CJAD 800.
Dating dilemmas tonight on the program. If you have dating issues, Frank's your guy. Frank Kermit is here at franktalks.com. By the way, you can get his ebook for free at www.friendstoloversformula.com. friendstoloversformula.com. And we've got Stamata on the line. Hi.
Hi,
How are you?
Dr. Laurie, it's Tamata.
Hi, Stamata.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. What's your
I
question?
have a question for Frank.
Yeah.
Let's say you're sort of dating someone, and let's say, for instance, he's been divorced, and every time you do something that his ex-wife used to do, he gets spooked and screens your calls, doesn't call you, and when he speaks to you, he's very cold. Like, how would you handle a situation like that?
Run. Sorry. I'll let Frank answer that.
I mean, does this person need to speak to a psychologist?
Well, let's start off by
Yes.
asking you. Why would you want to get serious with somebody that obviously has some past baggage that he hasn't dealt with?
That's it. I don't.
Well, then
I
don't.
don't, and I'm like curious. Like, how does this person cure himself?
The focus should not be how does this person cure himself. The focus needs to be on how much time are you actually interested in involving yourself with. I mean, if you like the guy and you want to see him casually, maybe once a week at a maximum, leave it at that and enjoy yourself while you're seeking your soulmate.
Okay.
But in terms of how is he supposed to heal himself, it's not your concern. He's not your primary partner. He's not your soulmate.
Don't try to fix him, Stamata, please.
No. I'm just like, I mean.
Yes,
this
he needs
person-
help.
This person must be suffering. You know?
Yes, this person is suffering, but because this person is suffering, if he's not doing anything to help himself, it's not your job to help him. And I know you feel badly, and a lot of women, they feel so badly that they stay because they feel badly. That's not helping you in any way, shape, or form. So yes, it would do him good to speak to a therapist and to iron out, get over his ex so he can move on to a new relationship. Absolutely.
So this person has to help himself.
Yes,
That's
you
right.
cannot do it for him.
You are not
Please.
his mother. Stop
no.
mothering him.
Yes, stop
You're
mothering
not-
him.
you're not
Thanks
his
for
mother.
your call, Stamata. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. All right,
Have a good
bye-bye.
night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
More dating dilemmas coming up after the news here on Passion on CJAD.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on CJAD 800.
We're talking dating tonight, as we do every month with Frank Kermit here. He's a dating coach and Montreal's #1 dating coach. In fact, franktalks.com is his website, and you can join the conversation. If you have questions about dating, call in at 514-790-0800, or you can text in at 514-800. Here we have a few text messages. Robert says, when I'm getting to know a girl and I notice that she likes to watch soap operas, I will interrupt her soap opera to see how she reacts. I've noticed some women who have a deeper contact with the soap opera than an actual person standing in the room. When I was watching soap operas, do not disturb me. That was my main thing. Do not disturb my soap opera. Please, thank you very much. It was like a little bit of an addiction, I have to say. It's not a choice. It's not like, oh, gee, I have to choose one over the other. But it's almost like your one little vice, that you indulge in every day.
Well, let's be fair here. It's not a gender thing. The fact is that when guys are in their cave and when guys are watching the game or whatever it is they're
Isn't that the
programming,
same thing?
it's the same thing.
Okay.
When people are indulging in their escapism, whether it's fun or it's escapism, they don't want to be bothered. And that's okay. Everybody's got that vice where they say, I need me time.
Or I need to disconnect. It's like, it's disconnect time. I'm going to go into that fantasy world, and there I go, Just for the record, I haven't watched a soap opera in a long time, like 20 years.
Yeah. But now...
For the record.
But for the record also, let's talk about Robert here for a second.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much that she's watching soap operas and saying, okay, when I watch soap operas, leave me alone. The issue that I'm wondering is there anything else going on in that relationship that's causing him to use the soap operas as an example, saying, well, is this the reason that we're not connecting in other areas? That's what I'm curious
Sounds
about.
like he's using it as a test almost.
Okay, but what is he testing for? Is he
I don't
testing
know.
to see if...
Do I matter? I don't know. Maybe do I matter?
Do I
Am
matter?
worthy?
Maybe the question is, hey, if she's really into drama and he's using the soap operas as a challenge to see if she prefers the drama over him, maybe he's not feeling comfortable with the relationship in some other area. Maybe he feels that she's not putting the couple first, and so he's deciding to test at this juncture.
Right.
And this test may not show whether or not she puts a priority on the couple as a relationship.
It may not be a fair way to
Yeah.
test her, so to speak. So let's talk about the holidays are coming. I can't believe we're a month away. Exactly a month away.
Mm-hmm.
Look how fast that goes.
And this is the perfect time to start dating somebody.
Is it? Because, I wonder about that. You don't think that people shouldn't wait after the
It's
holidays?
late November, the snow is coming, and those people who are single are thinking, I don't want to be single during the holidays.
Right.
I don't want to be single on New Year's Eve. Who am I going to kiss? I don't want to be single going into the new year. Valentine's Day isn't that far off. Now's the time that most people who are, if they're single, they're likely open to saying, yeah, I want to meet somebody to snuggle in with on those cold winter nights.
That's true. How soon, though? Okay, so let's just say you meet somebody this week, next week. You're a month away. You now have family obligations, right? You have Christmas Day and dinners and da-da-da. Do you bring your new person with you? Like, isn't that a little much? What does it say if you invite a person you've just started dating? So, we'd be dating, let's say 3 weeks or so. And you say, hey, how about Christmas in my house?
You don't base it on how long you've seen the person. You base it on how serious you are.
Okay.
Let's say you've been dating for 3 weeks. Look, there are some people that get very serious, and within
Very
3 weeks,
fast.
they're already thinking of moving in together. They're really an item. Well, then yes, you bring that person along to Christmas dinner. And if it's someone you're dating casually, but you're not that serious, and you're thinking, well, I don't really know where it's going to go, then no, you don't bring that person over for Christmas.
Right.
It's for any holiday, I should say. Okay, you don't invite somebody as a friend. Okay?
You don't? Okay.
No, you don't say, well, we're sort of seeing each other, so I'm going to invite my friend to Christmas dinner.
That's a lot of pressure, I think.
Not only is a lot of, it's just people aren't going to believe you anyway. Okay? People aren't stupid.
Right.
They know you're bringing somebody here as a friend. Yeah, you know what? I got plenty of friends. I don't invite them over. There's something going on there. People will know.
How soon is too soon in your book to travel with somebody? To say, hey, Christmas holidays are here, want to go away? How soon is too soon to ask somebody to go away with?
I think that if you like people and you're willing to take an adventure and you're willing to take a risk, then go for it. As long as you feel safe with a person, and there are, you put certain things in place, such as you let somebody know where you're going to be, telephone number, contact information, maybe a photo of the person that you're going with, just in case. I mean, look, you really want to be with somebody in life, you're going to have to take risks. And sometimes taking risks means, look at people who backpack across another continent. They're taking a major risk. They still do it. And I don't think that too many people regret those experiences
No.
unless, something really bad has to happen. But even then, people say, yeah, well, this one bad thing happened, but overall, it was a great learning experience.
It's true. When we did it, when I backpacked across Europe, it was, that we met people whose stuff was stolen, whose money was stolen, whose passports were stolen. They managed to stay, and they managed to
survived.
find a way, but there was a risk. That's true.
People who are afraid to take risks in relationships generally are afraid to take risks in life. And these are the people that when they get older, they're trying to figure out, what happened? Why is my life like this now? Why am I alone? Why don't I have anybody? Why don't I have a family? Well, it means if you wanted those things, you had to take risks at some point. If you're not willing to take a risk, well, you're not going to enjoy the rewards that come from taking those risks.
Right. And I think that you have to push your own boundaries. You have to learn how to push those boundaries for yourself. Stretch the boundaries for yourself.
Some boundaries, yes.
Right. Well, those boundaries, that comfort zone. Let's call it that comfort zone rather than boundaries for sure. Text message. All these how soon questions are all answered with depends how you feel and how good you get along with the newbie. And you're right. That's what Frank, isn't it how you feel, but it's also where the relationship is going.
No, see, I disagree with that. It's not based on how you feel. If you only base it on how you feel, you're probably trusting an intuition that's based on,
lust.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm talking about, you don't invite someone to meet your family unless you really see that there's a potential future there. Not what you hope.
Right.
Not how, it's so dreamy. It would be so wonderful if we worked it out. Do you actually have compatible values? Do you actually have the...
Isn't that too soon to determine that 3 weeks into it?
If you know
Depending at the age, I think.
If you know yourself and you know what you're looking for, you can figure out right away if you should be with somebody.
Yeah,
or
I'm
not
not one to talk, right? I got engaged after 2 months and you got engaged on the first night, so... and we're both still married.
Yeah, for now.
Hey!
I'm realistic. You never know. Besides, my wife would never divorce me. She'd kill me first.
Yeah, no kidding. 514-800 if you want to text us, or you can call in at 514-790-0800. Would love to hear from you on dating dilemmas tonight here on the program. We're talking about dating going into the holidays. How long do you date someone before you bring that person home for the holidays? What about spending? What about, do you buy them a gift? How much should you spend on a gift? I just met you 3 weeks ago. How much is too much to spend? And how will that be interpreted? That's another thing is, sometimes it could feel like too much. And I always come back to things you say, like earning, earning something. Like if somebody showers you with lots of gifts, holiday gifts, whatever it is, like a couple of weeks in, that seems a little odd to me.
It's suspicious.
Right.
It's suspicious because you haven't really earned it as much. Maybe the person's doing it because they feel obligated to. So it's a great opportunity to sit down and talk about expectations.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on CJAD 800.
You have dating questions. Tonight's the night. Every month, we, for the last, 3.5 years or so, Frank has
43 months.
43 months. Frank keeps track. Frank is a dating coach, Frank Kermit of franktalks.com. He joins us here and answers your questions. So if you have dating questions, you're single, you want to know what to do, what to meet, when to meet, how to meet, he's your guy. 514-790-0800, or you can text at 514-800. So Ray writes, still a 65-year-old virgin for the past 15 years. I'm not sure how you can stay a virgin for just 15 years, but whatever. I think non-sexual for 15 years maybe. Things changing soon. Got old Flame's number. We hooked up in 1998. She's now 44. All right, well, there you go. What can we say except, okay, congratulations.
Good luck. Make it happen.
Make it happen.
At least be willing to take a chance. What's the worst that can happen?
I think that's the key. What is the absolute worst that can happen? That somebody says no? That it goes south, like it doesn't work? It's okay. Well, so?
I did a seminar back in 2008, and it was a seminar for men, and I took them on a cemetery walk. I think it was day 2 or day 3. I took them all out to a local cemetery, and we all had a walk, and their job was to look amongst the tombstones and try to spot tombstones of people they've already outlived.
Mm-hmm.
And, some of them were in their early 20s, some of them were in their mid to late 40s. But the goal was to see how many people you've already outlived. This is it. This is where you were all going to end up. We're all going to end up in that cemetery. So you want to ask somebody out? What's the worst that can happen? We're all going to end up there anyway. And you can't...
it's not going to kill you.
And it's on nobody's tombstone epitaph. I was rejected by that one redhead girl.
Right,
it just...
Right.
Keep it in perspective, folks. Go for it, dude. Just go for it.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Keep it in perspective. Another texter said, started reading Harlequin romance novels at 13. Yes, so did I. And had to relearn that relationships do not end in happily ever after or mind-blowing orgasms.
Mm-hmm.
What a great point. And you see, that was our early... I'm very much relating to this texter because we didn't have pornography accessible, but we did have Harlequin romances. And those little books were so full of steam and sex and all kinds of scenarios, lots of romance, that it's true. Reading these at 12 and 13 and 14 years old really sets you up to think that's the way it should be.
It's just as damaging as pornography is today. It's just as damaging because it creates... wrong, false expectations about, well, this is the way it should be. And then when you get into a real relationship and it's not that way.
You mean not all men look like Fabio? He used to be on the cover of all those Harlequin romances.
No, actually, most
men look like... Remember Texter? Fabio?
Actually, most men, especially most husbands, look like me. Sorry, ladies, that's the reality.
514-800 or 514-790-0800 if you'd like to call in if you have a question for Frank. So we're talking about the holidays and dating somebody now, like in the, right before the holidays. I want to ask you the question, Frank, about what you think in terms of spending on a gift.
Keep it inexpensive, but make it meaningful. Choose something small, a trinket of meaning, based on a conversation you've had. So let's say you and me were on a date, Laurie, and I'm going to ask you a question here. And what is your favorite Looney Tunes character?
Bugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny. So based on that conversation, hey, we had a conversation. We had some fun. For the holiday gift, I might get you a Bugs Bunny keychain. And I'll say something like, every time you see this Bugs Bunny keychain, you'll think of me. So something that has meaning, that shows not only were you listening, but that you will have an appreciation for something that the other person likes.
And it isn't extravagance. I think extravagance makes people feel uncomfortable, frankly.
Some people, it makes them feel uncomfortable. I've also had I've also heard the stories of people who get mad when it's not extravagant enough.
If that's the case, that should tell you something, especially about the person's values.
Yes.
And whether your values are compatible to their values.
Yes.
In that respect.
Yes, and this is something that people have to realize. Don't automatically assume that there's something wrong with you because the person you were dating was unhappy that you didn't spend more money on a Christmas present. You have to be mindful enough to say, wait a minute, we've only been dating 3 weeks. What were you expecting? You expected something more than what I got you here? You know what? Maybe we won't be seeing each other by New Year's.
And I think that's the thing is meaning. I mean, if it's something that has meaning... It's something that was thoughtful. It's easy to go into a store and buy anything expensive.
I got a great story here for you. I know a couple that the gift that was given was a rock. A pebble that they had found on the street. But it came with such an amazing story of how the pebble represented
the whole poetry that went with it, right?
Exactly. The idea is this pebble here represents the past and how it's all rough and sharp edges. And this pebble here, it's smooth and it's round and it represents what it's going to be like when we work this out and we find we connect.
And, and you'll be very lucky if she doesn't roll her eyes.
Not at all. Listen,
I'm
people
kidding.
want meaning.
They want meaning in romance.
They want meaning in their life.
I get it.
Harlequin ruined you all, but
I
that makes it
know.
so easy for us.
I know. Oh, that's very evil, Frank. Somebody texted, when I was in that gift situation, I just put it out there. Hey, this is awkward. We laughed and decided on a $25 max and felt better. See, I like that.
Bravo. The coach applauds you. Bravo.
I like that. They actually admitted and said, we're in an awkward situation here, and discussed it. I love that.
That's so mature and so like, oh wow. I mean, I would love to.
You would love to date him, right?
Well,
not exactly, but okay, somebody else will. Thanks for texting in. More with Frank and dating dilemmas here on Passion on CJAD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on CJAD 800.
Last couple of minutes here for dating dilemmas. We have been discussing with Frank Kermit the holidays and dating going into the holidays. Now, here's an issue for you, Frank. What if you had made New Year's Eve plans with friends, but now you have this person you're now dating, and they want to do something with you alone, say? How do you handle that situation?
if it's a serious relationship, you go with your partner. If it's someone you're dating casually, that there's no serious commitment, go out with your friends on New Year's Eve. Be mindful of the fact that when midnight comes, everybody's looking for at least one, midnight kiss. And if you are serious about your partner, you want to be the person that your partner kisses at midnight.
So if you're serious, you can
If
ditch
you're
your
now
friends.
a couple,
Okay.
a couple, you ditch your friends, and look, you're
And they
not.
should understand, no? I mean,
No,
if
I've been in that situation where I met somebody and I said, look, we're serious now, and you still want to go out with your friends, make up your mind. And it was either me or them, and that's what it comes down to. If your friends are going to get in your way of your happiness, they're not really your friends. Okay, nobody puts it in their head that I want to be single forever. Now, if you do want to be single forever, it wouldn't be an issue for you because no matter who you date, it would be casual.
right.
But if you're
right.
looking to have a life partner, you got to make that a priority.
Thanks, Frank. Just the last text message. Disney princesses are evil. To be fair to Disney, the stories are originally from 18th and 19th century writers, but my point is girls are messed up as early as 4 years old, and it only goes on with shows like Twilight and Vampire Diaries and such. So, yeah, I think very, very true.
I agree, and guys get screwed up by porn too.
We all get screwed up. Basically, that's the bottom line. Thank you all for tuning in. Thanks, Frank, for joining us.
Listen to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD and CJAD.com.
Need help with love, sex, dating, and relationship issues? Help from Frank Kermit, the best-selling author and Canada's most international relationship coach, is only a click away at franktalks.com. Coaching available in person, by phone, and by Skype. For singles, couples, and alternative lifestyles, franktalks.com.
If you need help with your relationships, my buddy Frank, he's got some tips. Just go to franktalks.com. His advice is better than your mom's. He knows what you're going through, Frank has been there too. So log on to franktalks.com. franktalks.com.
Need help with love, sex, dating and relationships? Visit franktalks.com.